You know what? There's nothing like coming home after work and have a nice glass of the finest Cabernet Sauvignon. You know, that red juice from the gods, that good, that good old wine. Hi, I'm Dr. Kolby from Haven, Chicago, and I want to talk to you today about, is the wine you're consuming really healthy for you? Let me tell you about my own experience. I used to come home and go to Trader Joe's and buy that $2 chuck, you know? That $2 bottle of wine, it's on sale, it's that red, like, I want that, give me about 6 bottles of that, you know? Well, once I learned about the wine industry, and once I learned about the red juice of the gods, it really changed my perspective, and it really made me have a more global view of even the wine I was consuming. Because I was told my whole life that the Mediterraneans, they lived forever and they didn't have chronic illness and they drank wine every night. Well, let me tell you today why the wine that you're consuming is not the wine that they're consuming, so it could be hurting you and not helping you. All right, so number one, the wine made in our country, the USA, can add up to 76, you heard that right, 76 additives in the wine without putting it on the bottle. Holy crap, what's that mean? It means formaldehyde, red dye, sugar, chemicals. All of these are to make the wine taste better, and they are to speed up the fermentation process so the growers can make more money. Who would have thought here in capitalist America? Who would have thought about that, huh? So the wine, if you're drinking wine from this country, from USA, you have to be careful the wine you're buying, and you have to be careful of the added ingredients to the wine. Point number two, the majority of wine that's made here in the USA is sprayed with pesticides. So nothing like enjoying that fine glass of wine, but just wrecking your GI lining because there's 200 chemicals that are right there for you, causing havoc on your entire body. Well, I'm serious though. So when you consume wine that has been sprayed with pesticides, even though compared to food it's not as much because of the fermentation process, you're still getting a wide range of man-made chemicals that are known carcinogens. So I recommend buying organic wine. More expensive, better for your health. Always got to weigh those odds. Point number three is that the majority of grapes that are grown in our country to produce wine are grown on what are called new vines. People in the wine industry have a different variation of timeline here, but I would say it's anywhere between 7 to 15 years would be considered quote unquote new vines. The majority of wine that's consumed in Mediterranean cultures or cultures that have been known to consume wine for almost every night and still have impeccable health, their vines are somewhere between 40 to 100 years old. So what happens when you use old vines and not new vines is that there's much higher antioxidants in the wine, and the minerals that are absorbed through the vines, because the vines have withheld the stresses of everyday life for so long, are so much higher. So those 3 points are why I would be cautious about drinking that $2 chuck every night before you go to bed, because you could be doing more harm than good. So let's talk about 2 steps you can take, action steps that you can take today that will allow you to have your juice from the gods, but also be and improve your overall health. Step number 1. I recommend, as I just said, buying organic old vine wines. There's 2 great companies that do a great job of this. One being Dry Farm Wines. They are a subscription-based company, and they do testing, and they do a very good job of supporting local, traditionally made wines. There's another great company, if you haven't heard of them yet, called Thrive Market. It's an online marketplace of a whole bunch of goodies. They sell as well selections of white and red wines that are traditionally made without any chemicals. So go on there and check those two companies out. Again, Dry Farm Wines and Thrive Market have great options for you. If you're gonna buy wine, ask for organic grapes. If you can't do that, I recommend buying wine from other places besides the States. So the last tip here is that if you're out with friends, you're ordering a bottle of wine, nobody wants to be the guy that orders the 120 bottle. You don't want to be that person. Nobody wants to pay that either, because that's usually the most expensive and usually the traditionally made old vine grapes, which is why the cost is higher. That's not always the case, but that can be the case. So I recommend ordering wine from other places, meaning ordering wine from places besides the States. These are places like Italy, France, Greece. Why? Because their standards and their farming practices are much more stringent and strict compared to ours here in the States. So they can't add additives to the wine unless they've been approved by the government and they have stricter standards there. So I always try and order wine from other places besides the States when I'm out to eat with friends and I'm trying to enjoy a glass over a great conversation with someone that you love. So to recap here, number one, wine made in the States can add up to 76 additives, including sugar that's not on the bottle. Number two, the majority of wine that you're consuming is sprayed with chemicals. These chemicals wreak havoc on the GI tract and cause issues. Point number three, the majority of wine grown here in the States and even across the globe are grown on new vines that don't have the antioxidants and the minerals that the majority of old vines do. So what do you do instead? You buy organic as much as possible. You check out Dry Farm Wines for your subscription base every other month. In the meantime, you go to Thrive Market, you order a half case of wine to hold you over. When you're out with friends, what do? You order wine not here from the States that's made overseas because their standards are higher and they don't add so much junk and crap to the wine that's bad for your health. So I'm Dr. Kolby here. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned about the wine industry, but more importantly, what you can do to drink that wine and still be healthy. If you haven't yet, subscribe, hit the like button below, subscribe below, follow us here on our YouTube channel for Haven Chicago to get content that can help you be your healthiest and best self. Talk to you soon.